And here's Dr. Romero.
Thank you, Robert. And I'm the only thing standing between you and the end of the conference, so I'll be brief. And I want to home in on a couple of points that Bill Kovach pointed out. One of them is that the wisdom of the general public. And also on one of his slides, I have a copy of it here, it said that the public wants a joint cooperative effort between government, business, and citizens to solve these challenging problems. As part of that, and as part of the center's responsibility, we organized a focus group here in southeastern New Mexico and asked the general citizens, what do they think, what recommendations, would they make to our elected officials? And I have a list of those recommendations, and to conclude this conference, I'm going to read through those recommendations. First of all, let me read the panelists who contributed to this. They are Darrell Adkins, Representative Don Barton, Michael Cunningham, Gray Deal, Representative John Heaton, Gary Hurst, Ben Jana, Brian Norwood, T.J. Parks, Rose Scott, David Shaw, Charlie Smith, Hokie Smith, Gary Walker, and Matt White. And if I butchered any of those names, I apologize. These recommendations were virtually unanimous by this panel, and I'll start with climate change. They have 6 recommendations on climate change. The first is real-world local energy policy decisions are needed to balance far-away government mandate formulas and intervention. 2, CO2, carbon tax is no solution. 3, climate change solutions are already negatively affecting food supply, inflation, and water supply. 4, develop new technologies to clean up brackish water underneath fresh water and produced water from oil and gas basins. 5, technology innovation is supported as an alternative to avoid higher regulatory costs in climate change and adaptations. Next, I'll go to fossil fuels, and I guess I'm playing havoc with the people who are putting these up on the board. Fossil fuels, there we go. There was 7, oh, I'm sorry, the last recommendation in climate change was public education. Fossil fuels, there are 7 recommendations. The first one is support access to public land currently restricted, both onshore and offshore, for exploration and investment in new domestic supply to lower prices. 2, support access to public land for development and production of unconventional fuels, oil shale, oil sands, heavy oil, coal to liquids, and enhanced oil recovery, as a frontier of domestic oil supply that would provide long-term energy security. 3, adopt regional energy approach in Washington that recognizes local and regional energy assets and avoids a one-solution approach. 4, avoid punitive taxes like windfall profits. 5, resist promotion of one form of energy against another. Future energy security will require diversity. 6, fuel costs make irrigation too expensive to farm and threaten U.S. farming. And 7 is public education. And then finally, for the nuclear renaissance, our public advisory group had 11 recommendations. First, nuclear energy is an obvious choice for the future, both in the nation and southeastern New Mexico. We are the nation's first YIMBY, yes in my backyard, in more than 30 years. 2, is an energy source that is clean, reliable, safe, and provides a low-tax community tax base. 3, support policy stability at all government levels to lower financial risk, cost, and eliminate uncertainty. 4, build smaller unit capacity to attract smaller investor and companies. 5, reform Yucca Mountain founding by front-end utilization of money in escrow for loan guarantees and workforce training and education. 6, support cap and trade incentives that would provide nuclear energy producers clean emission allowances to make for return to cash flow as a mechanism to lower credit costs in capital markets for construction. 7, Encourage American industry to supply nuclear equipment, which currently is purchased offshore with long lead times and possible foreign government priority risks in the supply chain. 8, one that's near and dear to my heart, develop uranium mining production in the United States with New Mexico as potentially the largest value-added producer with new technology that makes open pit and underground extraction obsolete. 9, create a lower and middle school curriculum incentive that offers nuclear science and technology as a career path that emphasizes on motivated mathematics and science study. 10, revive nuclear fuel processing as a solution to the nuclear waste disposal issue through reuse of 95% of the waste stream with safeguards against plutonium diversion risk. And then 11, public education. Those are the recommendations that we got from our private citizen panel. What next? All of the proceedings from today, along with these recommendations, will be forwarded to all of our elected officials, and as part of the Center's activities, we will continue to push these recommendations on and make our public officials aware of them. We will also be holding a similar conference to this one in the fall, which all of you are invited to, and which will focus on renewable energy. And with that, we're going to conclude today's ceremonies. Of course, all of you are certainly hope to see you at 6 o'clock. Back here, we'll be back in the room where we had lunch for dinner, and Senator Domenici will be there, and we'll hear some of his words of wisdom. Thank you all very much for coming.